Hello, hello. Hey, how's it going? All right, ready for some Monza tonight? Oh yeah, how was that? Unfortunately, no. I was in a place where there was basically no internet. Sorry. Had to fix the stream. The stream description. Alright, there we go. Oh, sweet. We got an invite for the lobby already. Alright, cool. Well, I'm going to probably start pretty shortly here then. Sounds good. Yep, not really. No, nothing important. We're just kind of going through the regular stuff. Sweet.
And away we go here for Xbox Division 3.
Still wheel to wheel coming out of turn 19.
Tries to go down the inside of Desio. Desio giving him space, but not by much.
Oh, and he's oversteered, and he spun.
They're side by side, off the track, neck and neck.
Good evening, everyone. Coming to you live from North America. This is PPR Esports race number 2 out of 10 from Monza, Italy for our PC division. Joining me in the booth tonight is going to be Curbsy. He'll be joining me ever so shortly. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at the teams we're going to have ready for you tonight. First, we've got Racing Point with Senna and Mach Speed last week. Senna finishing 10th and Mach Speed finishing 17th. McLaren, we've got Shazam and Red Hornet. 12th for Shazam last week. Red Hornet has yet to finish a race. Hopefully he'll be here tonight. Ruda and Rogue in the AlphaTauri seats. Ruda with a 3rd place finish last week and 5th place for Rogue. Stoney, 18th. Shabi, 16th. Our 2 sturdy Red Bull drivers, been with us since Season 1 here in PC. We're going to hopefully see some great things out of them here tonight. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. I got to make sure Curbsy makes it into the game. Perfect. All right. Nice. Good. We got him the invite. All right. So let's continue with our team wrap up on to Renault. We've got Double OT finishing 19th last week. Captain Hood finishing 6th. Thierry with 8th place last week. Dr. McShorty with 11th. Clean Shelby with 14th last week. And Andre Pato, the newcomer, finishing 9th for Alfa Romeo. Ferrari, we've got Cream and Getchum, both drivers finishing in the top 10 last week. A nice 4th place finish for Cream. Javier and Chorizazgabi, 15th last week for him, and 13th for Javier in the 2 Haas cars. We'll see if they can't bring it up into the points today. Their form looked good. We'll see how they look at Monza. We've got Sejas and Becky B. The news from last week in the Williams car. First place for Becky B and 2nd place for Sejas. Of course, putting Williams very high into the finishing order. Of course, we are at Monza tonight, 27 laps total, 1 minute 18.4 for the qualifying time is about what we're expecting. 11 turns total, 7 to the right, 4 to the left, 13 laps on your softs, about 18 on the mediums, 22 on the hards. This is one of my favorite tracks, particularly for the high-speed corners. So,
I'll tell you what, Kermit, I am excited to see Javi improve this week. I think the Haas team has a lot of points to come after a disappointing qualifying last week. Kind of left them on the back leg for the race there, and I think Javi's going to bring it this week in that Haas.
Absolutely. I think they've got he showed some really good form last week, and I think that's only going to get better as we progress throughout the season. We're going to see, I think, some really big things from our drivers. Some turns to watch tonight are going to be turns 6 and 7 of the Lesmos.
And just real quick, I'm getting notification. There might be a little bit of an echo on the stream there. Do you potentially have my stream up?
Oh, possibly. There it is. Yep, that's not how you want to do that. I don't think.
All right. Thank you for that, Cody. Appreciate it. The race winner. Not only can he win on track, he's winning in chat.
Let's see. Interesting. Okay, so I think we might have that sorted out. So overall, in the standings on our Drivers' Championship, we've got Becky B in first, of course, Joss Ruda, Cream, Rogue, Captain Hood, Getchum, Thierry, Andre Pato, and Senna, of course, with our points finishers. Stony Shea B, Shazam, Red Hornet, Mock Speed, Javier, Dr. McShorty, Double T, Clean Shelby, and Chaz is yet to score points. Constructors Championship, great week last week for Williams, 44 points for them, AlphaTauri 25, Ferrari 18, Renault 8, Renault 8, Mercedes 4, Alfa Romeo 2, and Racing Point 1. Let's see here. It might have double outputs. It's what it's sounding like people are hearing.
Yeah, as Juan gives us a nice follow there. Thank you for that, Juan. Appreciate it. And like I said, I'm looking for that Haas team to really improve this week. I think they got some points that they're going to be able to throw on the table here, and I'm looking forward to that. Oh, sounds like we're coming through a PA system, huh? I wonder if that is on my end or your end, Kermit.
I think it's my end. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself for a second. You can still hear me. They can't, though.
Okay.
I think.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you still.
All right, Twitch World. Let me know if I'm echoing, because as he's fixing that, it might help us a little bit with exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear Kermit just fine in Discord, so I'm going to take a guess that it has something to do with the output setting.
Yeah, I think it's on me. Weird. All right, let's see here. We're going to get that figured out. All right, what's going on there?
And Speed Kills is saying perfect for both of us now. So I don't know if you unmuted yourself, but he's claiming it's good.
Oh, I did. So let's see here. Wonder if I can still be heard. It's my mic's getting picked up from somewhere. Oh, I did. So. Oh yeah, I'm still getting picked up, even though my output isn't actually being picked up by the stream. So okay, interesting. So I'll keep that in mind. Make sure that we, have a wrap on that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our qualifying session for our drivers here tonight. And let's see what they can do out on the track. Remember, we're going to be looking for about a 118.4 from our drivers. We got quite a few drivers out on the track already. Chaz is one of the first to go out. We got Mock Speed, FNW. He's a newcomer tonight, a stand-in. We've got Becky B, Andre Pato, Dr. McShorty, Red Hornet, Clean Shelby, Shea B, Capita Hood. Pretty much everybody on an outlap at this moment.
Yeah, it's going to be Getchum coming around the Parabolica for the first time to lead this pack. And if this was real life, they'd probably be cursing themselves with a yellow flag in Sector 3. But I think that's just the drivers backing themselves up here as Getchum is getting across the line first.
Now let's go ahead and ride along on Getchum's lap here. He's going to go down into turn number 1. The starting chicane hard onto the brakes. Flips it in to the right. Got a lot of slide out on the back end of that car there. Runs it wide through turn number 2. He's going to get his foot all the way to the floor. Try and get the power down around Curva Grande. here. Nice high-speed corner for our drivers. Something like 80% of this lap is going to be full throttle for our drivers. The second chicane of the track does that quite nicely, looking quite tidy for Getchum there. Let's see if he goes through the first of the two Lesmos. Does quite nicely. Feeds it right across the apex, turns into the right again. Uses decent amount of curb there. Could use possibly a little bit more, but you don't want to run too wide. There is gravel on the exit there. Drivers have to keep that in mind.
That's huge right there. Look at that. Clean Shelby has been disqualified from the session, parking in an unsafe location.
Ooh, that's always unfortunate. The game will do that sometimes, especially on the pit exit, and I wonder if that's where that happened. It's yeah, pretty unfortunate, but he stays stationary too long, and yeah, you're going to get booted out. Going around the last turn here, Getchum, around Parabolica, is going to be the first to put a time on the board. Feeds it to the inside of the track, goes with a 120.4. Immediately, Capitol Hood goes fast with 119.2.
Yeah, there it is. The Renault driver, Cap, able to get through on the top of the timesheets right now, but there's the man Javier, just 0.3 off of Capitol Hood, sitting in P2 right now, but quickly unseated by Rogue, who gets into the 118s there in that Alpha Tauri, and that is the current pace setter.
We've got Some Idiot joining us tonight. Good to see him in the Racing Point again. We had him last week, of course, taking home the Season 2 trophy. He's going to show us what he can do on Monza tonight. Oh, Williams in the background going sideways. Disqualified from session, going the wrong way. That will do it.
Was that Becky B? Or was that FNW?
FNW, I think. Well, FNW is at least the one that was disqualified. I don't know if Becky B went around. Looks like Becky B's going around okay.
That was FNW, because Becky B is going to be your provisional pole position right now. But his teammate sitting down there in P19, not going to be happy with that, but will be lined up next to the other DNF so far. That's going to be Clean Shelby.
Some Idiot here going through Sector 1. Looks like he might have invalidated his lap time there. It's not going to set this one. Going to save up the ERS, tires, and fuel. Try for another hot lap here in just a couple of seconds. Capitol Hood into the pits. Going to be grabbing a new set of tires. All drivers on the soft tires so far. None deciding that they want to pit for that medium tire. Now keep in mind, 27 laps total. You can go 22 on the hards, 18 on the mediums, and 13 on the softs is what's recommended. So a soft medium stint will get you there, and if you don't start on the softs, that's going to put you on quite a big disadvantage if all the cars around you are going to be starting on that soft tire as well. This is a track where it is very important to be out in the front, because dealing with the tussle, especially of turn number 1, it's notorious for its pileups, its wrecks, and whatever else have you, and it's just crucial that you're out in front of the pack during moments like that. But on the flip side, on the other hand of that, you do want the slipstream. It's extremely powerful at a track like this. We do have 2 DRS zones down the main straight, and then after turn number 7, after the Lesmos down into the Ascari chicane, it's going to be DRS activations for our drivers, and we're going to see those used to great effect today. Ascari is very hard to pass through, so that DRS, I think we're going to see a little bit less of an effect, but down the main straight into turn number 1, where you've got that first chicane, is going to be extremely effective for our drivers tonight.
Yeah, and track limits have become an issue already, as Some Idiot, yet to post a lap time, has invalidated his current time, so he's going to have to go in and reset here and try and get a clean lap before this session is over.
Capitol Hood on another out lap, went in for a fresh set of boots, currently on a new set of softs. 119.2 is the time for him. Becky B with the time to beat it, a 118.6. Yes, track limits, this is really a track where they come into play quite a bit. Maybe not as much as a track like France, but particularly turn number 1 and then the Ascari chicane, which consists of turns number 8, 9, and 10, are all places to watch. You can see here as Capitol Hood comes through the Ascari chicane, is going to flick it left, then right, and then left on the exit there. And any one of those turns, you either run a little wide on the exit or a little narrow on the entrance across the apex, and that's a good way to invalidate your lap. We're going to see that from a lot of our drivers tonight, especially those big curbs on the left-hand side of the exit of the chicane, turn 10. Those can really unsettle the car and send you right into the outside wall of that turn. So I think we're going to see that from a couple of our drivers tonight. We'll see if it ends up ruining anyone's race, but it's definitely something that if you're going to try and run 27 laps consecutively, it's going to catch you out every once in a while. So the drivers are going to have to learn to deal with it and recover around that turn.
Look at that from Young Dagger right up into P3.
Really nice time from him.
118.8 from Young Dagger. So sitting on the second row right now, but a ton of drivers still have a lot of time here to improve on their lap times. And the bottom 5 here that have not set a lap time really want to try and move up the leaderboards here as well.
Absolutely. They've got a lot of time left in the session, 9 minutes and 38 seconds left to go for these drivers. That's enough time for, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 more laps if you're properly motivated. I think the big thing is going to be the amount of tires that these drivers have. Typically, you've got only 2 or 3. Oh, Capital Hood loses it coming out of the Ascari chicane. As I was talking about it just 1 lap ago, looks like he snapped off the end plate of his wing. Goes out of the way there. He's got to get it moving again and in the right way if he wants to avoid a disqualification. But look at the train of drivers that is coming down the track right now. He's going to find it hard to get to a point where he can rejoin safely. Look at the Mercedes all the way down to, I believe that's Dr. McShorty there coming around. Wow, cuts right in front of the Alfa Romeo. But it doesn't look like it affected the Alfa Romeo very much. But that is a a tricky spot to get out of for Capita Hood. He did that, I think, the best he could, but the stewards might take a look at that as an unsafe re-entry.
And that was a cheeky little attempt at a draft there from Double OT, but I don't think his teammate Cap was moving quite quick enough for any slipstream to take effect. But here's Double OT coming across the line. He's going to set his first time, and he's actually going to unseat his teammate from that P6 position and hold on to that now with a sub 119 time.
Wow, nice lap from him. Double OT going ahead of Capita Hood, not something we've seen so far this season. So far this season or even last season. I think they were close in the points. Capita Hood struggling a little bit with consistency towards the beginning of the season, but able to pick it up towards the end. I know a lot of his time's been focused on the ACC League this season, so we'll see what kind of consistency he's able to capture from the Formula One car. Capita Hood back into the pits. Looks like it's not going to be a session over for him. Going to slap on new tires, get a new wing, and give that another shot. Chaz currently on an outlap, going around the second Lesmo right now in the Haas car. These Haas drivers are going to be 2 to watch. They are going... their pace has been really good, but they just got caught out in a couple unfortunate positions last week, I should say, that made them finish outside the points, but both seemingly have what it takes to get into the points. We'll have to see. It's just a matter of time, and I guess what happens around them on the track as well. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Looks like drivers just coming into the pits there. Everyone's still moving generally in the right direction. Chaz is going to line up for a new set of tires. Goes right into the pits.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now, nobody really improving on their lap times, and those that were had invalidated, so kind of no action right now. Maybe 2 more attempts to get out here and get a quick lap in before the end of this qualifying session.
Getchum currently on a flying lap with a 119.4 as his current time. A nice banker lap from him, but I think he's looking to go faster as he approaches the Parabolica. Gotten through most of the parts of the track where it's pretty easy to invalidate your lap time, so I don't imagine he'll do it in the last turn here. Dives right into the pits. Doesn't think he was going to set a better time on those set of tires. AlphaTauri Rogue leaving the pits right now, right ahead of his teammate Ruda at the moment, coming down the main straight. Ruda starting on a flying lap now through turn number 1. Might try to get some draft off of Rogue here. They timed that pretty well. If we see this kind of teamwork from the 2 AlphaTauri drivers throughout the season, I think we're going to see some large increases in points from that team. I mean, both drivers, Ruda and Rogue, have been known to challenge the top positions on the best of days, but those 2 drivers working in tandem could be just what AlphaTauri needs to put them at the top of the constructors. Nice racing line line so far from Ruta. Goes into the first Lesmo. Had to do a little bit of late braking, lost some speed, but this is the one where it's really crucial. Runs a bit onto the curb, just about as much as you want to do. Gets the DRS open and runs towards the Ascari chicane. AlphaTauri is going to plan this quite nicely because Ruta is going to be able to give a draft to Rogue down the main straight after Rogue gave a draft to Ruta down after turn number 1. Ooh, Ruta runs wide, but it looks like his time is still valid. That's that inside curve of turn number 10 I was talking about. Can unsettle that car quite abruptly, really, and when you're on the gas trying to go as fast as you can in the straight after Ascari, it's easy for that car to slide out from behind you, those rear wheels. Ruta goes 7th fastest with a 119.0. Can't quite break into the 18s where his teammate is.
Yeah, he jumped ahead of Javi there. Javi was up in that P7 position, improved from P8, but was unseated by Ruta.
Andre Pato.
There's definitely, who are we looking at? Pato now?
Oh yeah, I don't know if he just set a time or someone just said, oh, Creamy Johns goes fastest, 118.4. Nice lap from him.
Yeah, you're right. The Ferrari driver getting through very quickly there. Something I like seeing again. We like to make fun of the Ferraris every now and again, but it's nice to see the Ferraris back up top every once in a while.
Oh, definitely, especially at their home track here at Monza. It's going to be interesting to see how they place tonight. I mean, Getchum and Creamy Johns both have the pace to stay up in at least the top 5. I mean, Creamy Johns is one that we saw all of last season and even last race just flirting with the podium. That's going to be something that I think he can achieve and is going to be very keen to do so, sporting the red Ferrari colors at a place like Monza. Rogue invalidated his lap, is not going to set a faster time this time around. We'll see if he can go around one more time on this set of tires.
Taking a look down, a lot of drivers in the garage right now, Kermit.
Yeah, quite interesting. I mean, they got to be getting ready to set their last lap time or use up their last set of tires. Rogue goes into the pits, going to get that new set of tires as a Ferrari goes zooming by the camera down the main straight. That is Getchum coming down the main straight. Going to start a flying lap here into the first chicane. Ooh, a little bit of lockup from the front right, keeping it nice and tidy through there. Around Curva Grande, not a whole lot to do if you're the driver other than turn it right and keep it kind of close to the rumble strips there. Puts it right in the middle of the track, getting that perfect combination of turning and speed. Second chicane for Getchum. Does that quite nicely. Uses all of the curb he's allowed to, not a bit more. Goes around the first of the 2 parabolicas, nice and tidy. Not a whole lot of unsettlement you're seeing from this car yet that could be indicative of the time that Getchum has spent on his setup. Doing quite nicely so far.
And Getchum getting through. He wants to tie up with his teammate up there in the front row. See if they can get a Ferrari front row lockout. And that would be phenomenal here in front of the home crowd. The Tifosi here in Monza.
Yeah, that would be something to see because I don't know that we're gonna see it this year. It's they're looking promising, but nowhere near the level that Red Bull and Mercedes are, and that's I don't know. I think it's going to be a good season overall, but I think Red Bull and Mercedes are still going to be the 2 standouts of the season as a whole. But between now and the end of the season, we are going to get some very good races, I imagine.
And speaking of the Red Bull, Stoney is finally out on a hot lap. Puts up 26 seconds in the first sector there. And see if he can finally set a time to allow him to qualify in this session. He's down in P17. And definitely wants to improve here. His teammate, Shea, is in P15. And there's definitely a lot of room to gain here.
Some idiot not able to set a time at the moment. Currently 2 laps on his sauce. Might still set a time yet. Let's see, currently going through Sector 2 just ahead of Stoney. Or into Sector 3 just ahead of Stoney here. Yeah, Stoney going to be setting his first time along with Some Idiot. The only 2 drivers that have not been disqualified so far that still have yet to set a time. Stoney's, this is going to be his one shot at it unless he tries to do back-to-back hot laps. He's got enough ERS to do it, but it's a matter of how much tire life he has left. Stoney sets a time, goes 119.7, turns down the ERS. That is going to be the best Stoney can do on this set of tires. So 59 seconds left. It's not going to be enough time to set another lap. Becky B has his foot on the loud pedal to try to get back around to the main straight before the timer runs out. 46 seconds left in the session. I think he's going to have just enough time to do it. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Andre Pato coming down the main straight right now. Tries to set a better time. Stays fourth fastest with a 1:18.6. Looks like he's still got the ERS in full deployment. Is going to try and give it another go here. Definitely something to be said for that. Tougher to do because your tires are a little worn, but not necessarily impossible to go fastest on your second lap around. We've got Shabam with 1:19.5 currently on a hot lap, is going to be setting another time as well. We got a lot of drivers crossing the start-finish line right now. A lot of them beginning their hot laps. Two Ferraris giving each other a slipstream off each other there. Getchum giving it to Creamy Johns. Getchum staying out and just trundling around the track. Hopefully doesn't get too much in the way of any other drivers here. Pulls off to the side. Is going to presumably, let the cars pass. Make sure he's not in anyone's way before he takes his car back to the pits. Shabam.
In the meantime there, some idiot he boxed on that last outlap that he had and just retired from the session. So didn't even set a time. He's down in P18, which is lower than any time obviously out there except for the disqualifications. So
yeah, interesting to see from some
spot for not setting a lap.
No, definitely. I mean, 18, it could always be worse with a full 20 driver grid, but we've seen some idiot pull off some pretty amazing stuff from that far back before, so I imagine we're going to get quite the show today. Becky B going to be the next to cross the line, dives into the pits. Instead, not going to set that time. Double OT into the pits as well, along with the Alfa Romeo. We've got the AlphaTauri, looks like, of Rogue coming down the main straight. We'll see. He's going to go on to set his time with the Mercedes following just behind. Rogue crosses the finish line, can't go faster. Same thing with Young Dagger, aka Thierry. Not going to go any faster. Captain Hood brings it up to 8th. Nice lap from him. The Ferrari, Creamy John, solidifies his spot at the top. He can still be knocked down by a number of drivers here. Getchum, Shea B, and Chaz all have yet to officially finish. Shea B goes into the pit.
It's all settled in now, Kermit. As I'm looking at the drivers out on track, the ones still out there had invalidated their lap times.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Creamy Johns is going to be starting from pole. Nice showing from the Ferrari of Creamy Johns. Becky B in second, Young Jagger in third, Andre Pato, the newcomer that has started or come out of the gates with a vengeance, starting in fourth today. We've got Rogue in fifth, Double OT sixth, Ruda in seventh, Captain Hood in eighth, Shabam in ninth, Javier starting in 10th, then Getchum, Shaby, Chaz, Stoney, and Dr. McShorty round out your top 15. Red Hornet, Mock Speed, Some Idiot, FNW, the reserve, and Clean Shelby in 20th. Nice qualifying session from our drivers here. All doing pretty well to keep it on the track. Some Idiot obviously having trouble with some of those lap times, or excuse me, those lap borders, the track limits there, not able to set a valid time. Wow, look at that time between Becky B and Creamy Johns, just 70 thousandths of a second, or 700ths of a second, separate the two drivers there. That's going to be fascinating to see around our full 27 laps here at Monza. We'll see how that translates to the race, because the slipstream is going to provide way more of an advantage of that per lap. So we're going to see, I think, some pretty contentious laps between our drivers here. A lot of back and forth between our top few drivers. I mean, look at that. We're within a second for our top 13 drivers, and that is quite significant.
That's a pretty good qualifying. I'm happy with it, and I know I mentioned it before, but I'm looking for this Haas team to really score some points here, and we know turn one Monza, anything can happen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as we were talking a little bit earlier, we've got turn one, which can be quite, let's say, congested for a lot of our drivers. They fly into it, and then as you go into turn one, you get that accordion effect of the cars, right? I mean, car number 2 has to slow down. If they slow down slightly faster than the car in first position, then the car number 3 has to react, and 4 and 5 and so on. And you get that chain effect that by the time you get to car 20 on the grid, you have the rear end of that accordion going what seems like to the driver extremely slowly and braking extremely early, which obviously isn't good for reaction times. The driver's got to be able to be really on their toes when it comes to that turn number 1. Of course, we're going to get the formation lap in first, so you'll be able to see some of that. We'll see if we can't get a good view of that just into turn number 1 as the formation lap happens. And keep in mind, formation lap is much, much slower than what turn number 1 is going to be on the first lap. You can see drivers braking relatively early. Of course, not a huge metric, but you can see just how close the cars get to each other, even at this slow a speed, and we're going maybe a quarter of the speed of what the drivers are hoping to do. Let's see what tires everyone is on. Getchum, Shea B, Dr. McShorty, Red Hornet, Mach Speed, and Red Hornet, and then some idiot all starting on the mediums today. Red Hornet and Mach Speed already getting into each other, being teleported back to the grid, going to be starting on the cold tires. Unfortunate for them. I don't think they're going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, some different strategies going on here. Do you think that anybody will quickly switch off to hards here?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it depends a lot on track position. I mean, I would say maybe some idiot, because typically he's got a lot of pace. I think he'd feel pretty comfortable on the hards. But starting out on those mediums makes me think that he really wants to do the medium soft strategy. And I like that for someone that has quite a bit of pace starting in the backfield. Be on those mediums, start to put pressure on some of the other medium tire drivers, and then as the soft tire drivers start to pit onto those mediums, set in some fast laps, get yourself ahead of the pack, get yourself a nice gap from, whoa, driver into the wall there. It looked like the Red Bull of Shea B.
Kermit, I was going to say, is there an issue here? I see P16 and 17 are DSQ right now. Is that just from the qualifying session?
I think that is just from them touching during the formation lap. It teleports them back to the grid.
Settle in here, because I didn't see anything in the race director there. Just wanted to make sure we didn't have anything crazy going on here.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I've actually never seen it mark it disqualified in the standings there. So yeah, likewise, I hope everything's okay. But I think we should be just fine. Your typical run-of-the-mill, just a little bit of extra contact at the beginning of the lap there. As our drivers pull up to the line, we're going to see the cars snap to attention, and the lights go on. We've got 3, 4, 5... and the lights are out, and away we go towards turn number 1 at race 2 of 10 at Monza. Down into turn number 1, Creamy Johns is going to lead the charge. Becky B just behind. Andre Pato eager to get his nose in there as well. Going to try to get down the inside of the Williams car. Can't quite get it done. Stays in 4th. All the drivers snaking their way through the chicane here. A lot of bumping and grinding. We've got the Ruda and the Renault of Double OT getting together side by side. Captain Hood falls down to 8th. Ruda stays 7th. Becky B in 5th. Rogue 4th.
Through turns 1 and 2.
Unfortunate.
To control that Haas, and he will be at the back of the grid.
Unfortunate for the Haas driver here. Mach Speed in the Racing Point is going to have to look out here. Goes back and forth, bumps Clean Shelby in the Alfa Romeo. Is not going to be happy about that. Might be hearing from the stewards after the race. Looks like Shea B currently dropping down positions very quickly. Is going to lose out to the Haas here next. Shea B may be having trouble with his tire temps there. You can see he just looked all over the place at the first Lesmo. Is going to get passed by the Haas there. Predicted tire strategy from AWS coming in. Soft, then medium, most likely. Possibly a soft hard for some of these drivers. And I think that's all going to depend on what they want to see from...
And there's a retirement. It's Mach Speed. Ran right into the wall after the final chicane there. Almost collected Shea B as well. Mach Speed will be the first DNF of this race.
Safety car, full safety car. I think we're going to see some pits here from our drivers in the backfield. We've got the Red Bull of Stoney into the pits. I imagine we're going to see him onto the hards here. I think that's a smart call from Stoney. Getting in a couple laps on the softs. Going to switch on to, just kidding, the mediums. He's going to find that tough to take those all the way to the end of the race, but he is not the only driver coming in. We've got Stoney, Chaz, FNW, and Javier currently in the pits trying for a new set of tires. It's going to be a full-blown safety car, so the grid is going to back up. It's going to be up to let's see, I think that is still Creamy John still at the front there as the timing board freaks out and decides or figures out what it wants to do. We've got the Renault coming up here. We'll see on the screen. No, that is not the Renault. That's just the safety car parked there waiting for the rest of the pack to catch up. Let's hope to the safety car. the safety car gods that we everything goes as planned. We got that many drivers trying to pass the safety car. Can turn into a bit of a debacle just with the programming, but looks like Creamy John's, yeah, leading out in front, is going to go pick up the safety car after turn number 1 there.
Yeah, and the Haas team did a double stack there, and it kind of cost Javi a few grid positions, I believe. He was up into, I think it was P17 or P16 there, and because of the issues there with the double stack at Haas, he lost out big time.
Thank you for the raid, Mr. Puddles Demubbles. One viewer, but we like it all the same. Thank you very much for the raid. Creamy John still in first. Is going to be restarting this race. He's got some experience restarting the race towards the front of the pack. I think he's going to be a little bit thankful as well as nervous that he's starting out in the front going into the turn number 1. That is the Variante chicane at Monza. He's going to be a little nervous because of the drivers behind him. He's going to be looking in that rear view mirror. He's got to make sure not to drive with the rear view mirror as much as possible. I think he's looking at a pretty interesting position. I don't know what's going to happen with some of our drivers here. I mean, we've got 2 laps on the softs for a lot of them. I think the people, or the drivers, that really like this safety car are those medium runners right now. I mean, look at Getchum, Some Idiot, Dr. McShorty, Shay B, and Red Hornet. All have yet to pit still, but on 2-lap old mediums, where Creamy John's basically first place through 8th place, and then Shelby down in 12th, are all going to have to pit still relatively soon. Now, I mean, we can get about 10, I don't know, 8, well, somewhere between 8 and 10 hot laps out of these soft tires, and we're going to stretch that a little bit further because of this safety car if the drivers conserve right. So they should have their fuel modes down low and not putting too much wear on their tires, but you can see drivers from 2nd place back swerving back and forth ever so slightly just to try and keep some of the heat into those tires. One of the things that can do is continue the degradation of your tires. So you don't want to do that too much, but you're gonna need some pretty warm tires going into turn number 1 if you hope to hit your braking zone on time and not fly into the car in front of you. Becky B going with the Pro Strat on the hards, according to Racer33. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, the safety car here it's kind of interesting here at Monza, isn't it, at the start of the race, because you want to go for a different strategy, someone like Becky B that we mentioned, but when you go for that, you're losing all of this track position out here. And is it really worth it at the end of the day? It's really a gamble that you have to absolutely send it for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what the first 14 drivers on the grid decided, was that, yeah, they'd rather have the track position. And I think that's the right call. I mean, if we maybe would have seen the safety car around, I don't know, lap 6, 7, 8 even, I think that changes what a lot of the drivers are looking to do, because then you can make it easily to the end on a set of hards, no problem. But now, yeah, with the softs, I mean, you could put on the hards and maybe be a couple laps short, but you're right, as you were talking about, that track position becomes all that much more important for these drivers, especially when you start to consider what the slipstream does at a track like this. I mean, and that's going to be the interesting thing too, right? And maybe that's something that the 15th and onward were weighing in, is that the slipstream is quite powerful. So being that far back in the grid, you're going to get a lot of slipstream, but that does not come without its challenges. I mean, if you're Becky B, you've got 14 drivers to pass to get back that first position. So we'll see how it plays out here. We should have one, maybe more lap with the safety car.
Yeah, Javi boxed again. I was wondering why he was so far off the grid. He went to soft tires there.
Oh, safety car in this lap.
Yeah, he went to soft tires there, but now he's back out on medium. So he's now with the strategy that he wants. And I'm curious why he didn't go for hards, but here we go with the restart.
Creamy Johns puts the pedal to the floor, and off we go. Caught a couple drivers, looks like maybe from Capitol Hood back, sleeping. They're kind of falling back a little bit. Very nice restart from Creamy Johns there. Looks like the Alfa Romeo of Andre Pato is going to try and get around the Mercedes of Young Dagger. Going to go down the inside, is going to go, they're going to touch a little bit. The Mercedes comes off the better, gets in front in before Curva Grande. The Renaults are going to go side by side of Double OT and Capita Hood, both respecting each other's space, but one has to come out on top. Double OT on the inside. Capita Hood nudges just ahead. He's going to give it up before the chicane. Capita Hood takes the 5th position into the chicane here. The Renaults doing really well to cover off the AlphaTauri pass there. Some idiot up into 9th. Shabam into 8th. All drivers keeping it pretty clean through here. Right now, Double OT struggling with Ruda behind him in the AlphaTauri. He's got all over him. Let's see if he can get that pass or can hold off Ruda for much longer here. Ruda looking very good in that AlphaTauri. I don't know how much time he spent on his setup, but it appears to be super settled for Ruda right now. We'll see if he can overcome some of the consistency issues he saw last season and promised to get rid of on the podium last week. So we'll see if he lives up true to his word. Gets the slipstream here, is not going to be able to make a pass around Parabolica, even though he might try. Goes around for the racing line. Ooh, Ruda almost sends it up the inside. It's not going to quite get it done. Shabam coming under pressure from some idiot there. Some idiot looking very good in that racing point tonight. Creamy Johns with the fastest lap of the 122.8 so far. Not much to be said because of the early safety car, but we'll see how that plays out. Andre Pato looking very hungry to gain a position on the Mercedes there, right all over the gearbox of that Mercedes. Only 2/10 behind at the moment. Down into turn number 1, the Red Bull. Shea B goes right alongside Max Clean Shelby. Shelby comes off the better on those soft tires, gets out just ahead around Curva Grande as he goes down into the second chicane. Gets ahead quite nicely there. Shabam putting pressure on some idiot. Oh, no, getting passed by some idiot there. Some idiot up into 8th.
Yeah, the Racing Point's through there, and we better get used to start saying a different name there for that Racing Point team, as it will be Aston Martin in the next game, and I'm looking forward to the new liveries as well. But I was looking, it seemed like McShorty was getting very racy with the cars in front, but Becky B had something to say about that, and is now chasing down those cars that McShorty was all over just a lap ago.
Yeah, McShorty right now under a little bit of pressure from Stoney, the very consistent Red Bull driver that we've been seeing. Whoa, Chaz, there we go. I didn't even see him on the camera there going alongside Dr. McShorty getting the pass done. Chaz up into 14th now. The Red Bull driver is now going to try and get the pass done on Dr. McShorty. Stoney going to look to go around the outside on Parabolica. A lot more track to cover. Ooh, very risky there from Stoney. Dr. McShorty not backing off very much, almost coming in contact.
Cap into turn 1 now for P4. Cap's trying to set it up the inside. Oh, and there's a spin there from Young Dagger. Young Dagger was unable to...
Whoa, pile up. Oh, man.
And there's a huge pile up into turn 1 and 2 there. We're going to have a full safety car here in a moment, guaranteed.
Looks like we're going with a virtual safety car this time around. The drivers involved in that are not going to be very happy. Yeah, look at that. Young Dagger still in turn number 1, missing both end plates. Wow, just tragic from our drivers here. Virtual safety car so far, but I don't think it's going to last long enough for those drivers to pit again. I think we're going to have at least 4 or 5 drivers that still need to pit. Some idiot, Ruda, and Dagger all getting penalties. Those will be taken off potentially by the stewards if they deem unwarranted, unless, of course, they serve them in the pits. Let's go ahead and take a look here at just how much penalty they received. Some idiot, Ruda and Young Dagger, all with 5-second penalties. There we go, Red Hornet. Whoa, what happened there? The Ferrari going around of Getchum, just losing it on the exit of the second Parabolica. Ruda, Getchum, and Chaz all out. The triple DNF around one corner. What is going on? Red Hornet with the drive-through penalty that he has to serve within the next 3 laps. Meanwhile, up front, the Renault of Double OT getting past Andre Pato with the missing front wing. All the drivers, most of the drivers, into the pits here. Double OT into the pits just ahead of Andre Pato. Capita Hood's gonna overtake most of the grid for second place here. Rogue stays out in 3rd. Some idiot not into the pits, staying in 4th. Shabam, Shea B all staying where they're at. Clean Shelby battling with Shea B here. Shea B getting the pass done, staying up into 6th. Nice driving from Shea B there. Clean Shelby's looking hungry though. He knows now might be his chance to score some good points for Alfa Romeo, considering his teammate Andre Pato now down in 14th, just exiting the pits right now. Absolute pandemonium here on lap 7 at Monza. Just absolute carnage from these drivers, collecting Ruda, Getchum, and Chaz all in a DNF and plenty of end plates being snapped off to go around. Double OT, Andre Pato, Red Hornet, and Young Dagger, not the least to be pitting for some repairs, serving some of the serving some of their time, penalty time, into the pits. Red Hornet.
Yeah, but look out for Double OT. I love the strategy from him and Andre Pato as well there on the hard tires early. 19 laps to go, and they could take those to the end here.
Oh, absolutely. I think you can definitely get it to the end. I mean, wow. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see from some of our drivers here. I mean, some idiot, I think, is going to try to go to the end for sure. I mean, even though those tires are really only rated for 18 laps, I think he's going to try and take them the extra 7, well, almost 9 laps or so that he needs out of those tires.
He's almost guaranteed a puncture if he stays out there. I think he's banking on a safety car. Him and I think Javi as well is on the same strategy as Becky B there. So they might be very similar getting towards the latter half of this race.
Yeah, based on what we've seen so far, another safety car is not out of the question. It's been pretty intense driving from our racers here so far, and I think that is only going to get more heated as the race continues, especially when we're looking at pretty close battles like the one between our 10th, 11th, and 12th place drivers of FNW, Javier and Dr. McShorty at the moment. All three drivers clumped up pretty closely. Also, Shay B looking to close some ground on Shabam here. Going to try and get that pass done, see if he can't catapult himself up into the top 5. On that medium tire, I like Shay B's odds. Shabam's going to start to see excessive, well, I shouldn't say excessive, but a higher rate of tire wear here soon. He's got 8 laps into those softs, only meant to go 13, where Shay B's tires can go theoretically around 18 laps or so. So there we go. Looks like Shabam's had enough. He's going to go into the pits. Shay B's going to take over the 5th place position and see what he can do with a little bit of clean air. Clean Shelby just behind him, about 1.7 seconds, not within DRS range, but Becky B clawing his way back up from the back of the pit with that DRS activation there. He's going to climb right up on the back of Clean Shelby. Going to try and get the pass done around Curva Grande here, I imagine. Pulls alongside. Let's see if he can do it. Yeah, gets past him quite easily. I think Clean Shelby knows that he's not necessarily fighting Becky B at the moment. Clean Shelby's got really old soft tires at the moment, where Becky B has moderately old hard tires that I think he's going to try and take to the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the lap times here for everybody out there that's curious. Seems like Creamy Johns is posting the 122s. His best lap is a 122.3 so far, and Cap, who's hunting him down, his best lap is a 122.6, but he's also keeping pace as well. So Creamy Johns might have the quicker pace in one lap, but Cap is still staying within a few seconds of him in front there.
Yeah, Capita doing well to keep the pressure on Creamy John. So still, yeah, 3.6 seconds is more time than you would think. Yellow flag sector 3. Looks like the Red Bull is Stoney. Couldn't quite handle coming out of of the Ascari chicane there. Snaps off. Looks like, yeah, missing a bit of an end plate. Whoa, a little more than an end plate. How about a whole left side of his wing? Gonna have to pit to get that rectified. Capita Hood releases from the pit box. Is gonna filter back into traffic right around 11th or so. Stoney into the pits. Actually, Captain Hood going to come out 9th, still in the point scoring position. I think he's going to like his position there. Plenty of time to run some hot laps on those mediums. Only 16 laps required from Captain Hood on those mediums, which is well within their wear window. Captain Hood should have no more pits from here to the end of the race, provided he can keep his car under him. Double OT and Andre Pato going at it down into turn number 1. Double OT gets the inside, but Andre Pato gets the inside on turn number 2. Cars touch, but no damage seemingly coming off of them right now. Andre Pato settles for 11th for the time being, but is going to try and get that pass done any turn here. Oop, there we go. Watch. There we go. Number 11 down into the second chicane. Andre Pato with a bit of a late break and a lockup on the front tires. Knows he's got a bit well, about the same grip. Andre Pato and Double OT both pitted around the same time, both on hard. So compared to some other drivers, they don't have that much grip, but compared to each other, it's a pretty even matchup. Andre Pato maybe going a bit deep into the apex there, losing some time on the exit, but gets the DRS activation, is going to close some of that gap to Double OT. Can he challenge him into the Ascari chicane? No, bet knows better than that. It's a high-speed corner. in which that you need to really have the car settled under you, otherwise it can end badly for both drivers. Andre needing to get a little more confidence in that car in order to make some of the passes that are required, especially into Ascari chicane. I think that is going to give him another chance to do that down into turn number 1 and try and get that pass
answered Capita's call for the pit stop, and he's out. But he lost about a second to Cap there, so a good strategy from Cap. But nonetheless, Creamy Johns answered the call, and here he is back out in P8. But he is your provisional leader once all of these pit stops are done.
Andre Pato with a bit of a lockup into turn number 1. Stays 7/10 behind Double OT. Is going to try and get the DRS activation down the back straight. We'll see if he can close the gap any amount before he gets to that point. The Williams of FNW is only 6/10 behind Javier, has the DRS activation down the back straight. He's going to close that gap ever so slightly going into Ascari. Can he carry the speed necessary in order to keep closing that gap through the straight? Javier with 3-second time penalty, it won't matter. FNW now effectively passes him on track. Well, FNW with his own time penalty.
Yeah, FNW picked up a time penalty a lap ago in the same corner. So it looks like as FNW was chasing Javi down before, he pressured himself into a penalty, and now this lap pressured Javi into a penalty. So now they're about equal.
Rogue falling down the positions into the pits. Gonna find a new set of tires. Looks like he's going on to the mediums as his crew releases him from the pit box. Rogue is gonna filter out behind Capita Hood, about maybe 7 seconds by the time it's all said and done. FNW gonna try and get that pass done now. He's gonna go down the outside, or around the outside on Curva Grande. Can he make it stick down into the chicane there? They go side by side. Wow, 2 side by side. We got the Ferrari and the Mercedes of Creamy Johns and Dr. McShorty behind him. Oh! Javier runs wide, is going to fall back positions. Can he re-enter without getting too much of a tangle? Holds off the Haas. Javier down into 7th there. Dr. McShorty into 6th. Some tight driving going on from our drivers today. Creamy Johns coming out of that relatively unscathed, getting the pass done pretty quickly, is now going to look to pick off FNW as the gap between himself and Capita Hood increases. That Haas of Javier is still very eager, though, is going to try and get past Dr. McShorty on the exit of Ascari here, and I think he's going to have the momentum to do it. Can he carry the slipstream enough that he gets a chance to pull alongside into the Parabolica? Let's find out. Is going to get his nose in there. Oh, and they touch and both go sideways. Very dangerous move from Javier there. Both drivers, wow, simultaneous saves. Very nice from those drivers. Javier just getting up the inside. Didn't quite have the right to put his car there. Was not alongside enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not, but it's not really a normal corner to cut like that, is it, into Parabolica? You usually come around a bit wide and then cut across halfway through the apex, so I think Dr. McShorty saw that move maybe coming and decided last moment I'm going to shut it off, and Javi as well, a bit ambitious on that move.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the onus is on Javi there to back off. He wasn't along enough aside, but props for trying, I suppose. Unfortunately, that it came off.
Oh, and there's an incident there. Is that FNW is spun. FNW's around there in the first chicane, and he's down to P9 now. Has lost a few positions there. He spun. It looks like, did he lose a bit of front wing as well?
Looks like he might be doing okay, so minimal
clean.
loss to downforce.
Yeah, it looks clean there. So that is quite a mistake there from the Williams driver. His teammate, though, Becky B, what a phenomenal drive he's had on these hard tires. Can he take them to the end? Well, maybe at the risk of a puncture, but another VSC or a safety car out here could secure a great finish for Becky B.
D1MM4K, thanks for the follow. We always appreciate that. Really helps us out. Yeah, Becky B having a great race so far. 11 laps into that hard stint. Is going to come under pressure from Shay B possibly here, but Shay B's got to be getting to the point where he needs to pit as well. 1.2 seconds behind the Williams driver, Shay B is.
Who's the closest battle right now? Is it between Double OT or is it Dr. McShorty? As I see Double OT closing in on Andre Pato here.
Double OT and Andre Pato definitely forming a bit of a rivalry this race, having spent most of the race within about 2 seconds of each other. Oh, very unfortunate traction zone from Double OT there. Can't quite get the rear tires to give him the grip that he needs. Is going to lose some time to Andre Pato there, but Double OT, I think, can keep a relatively level head throughout this, because Andre does have the penalty that Double OT should know is going to matter in the end here. So Double OT wants to keep it very close to Andre, but he's got to keep an eye on that gap to FNW as well. If he doesn't have enough time, or if the gap between Andre and FNW keeps increasing, Double OT is going to want to try and get past Andre. Right now, Andre doing pretty well. Is going to slip into DRS range of FNW here, so we're going to see that gap start to close. Rogue still within DRS range of Javier here. He's going to get the DRS activation down the main straight. 3-second time penalty for Shabam. Multiple warnings.
Yeah, looking elsewhere, Rogue has gone for a different strategy here. He's on 2-lap old medium tires, which puts him about on par with Creamy John's in front there, just behind Cap as well. But is there an overtake attempt here for Rogue on? That's Javi there. Javi was able to close the door, and it caused a lockup for the Alpha Tauri. And that's a great defensive maneuver from Javi, but Rogue is probably a little bit upset about that. He's on these fresher mediums and wants to get through before he really wears into them too much.
Yeah, Rogue in his experience, was able to get his car out of the way and avoid some of that contact. But yeah, you're right. Now is the time he wants to be putting in those hot laps on the mediums, and Javier knows that. I mean, he's trying to cover off and defend as much as he possibly can, and he's doing very well at it so far. Let's see if he can continue to do that. For now, Javier looks like, let's see, Rogue's going to try and get the pass done. Can he get it done? Gets past him. Javier slots in behind, but might try to take the fight back to him at the exit of Ascari here. Now Javier falling back ever so slightly. Rogue trying to put the pedal to the metal at this point and increase that gap to Javier. Is going to try and do it around Parabolica here, because Javier is getting that slipstream. Now only 0.4 of a second behind Rogue. He's going to try and take the fight back to him, and that's only going to get worse if the DRS zone comes into play here. Some Idiot currently still in first, 10 seconds ahead of Becky B with 10 laps left in this race to go. 26 laps on the mediums is pretty out of the question as far as that goes, so he's going to have to pit here pretty soon.
Looking down here, Javi was saving a lot of ERS there, which is a smart, mature move, but so was Rogue as well. It just shows the pure pace that Rogue had on these fresher medium tires. And he's going to be released to chase after Capitol Hood now. About 5 seconds off of the man sitting in P5 right now, but remember, those two drivers at the top 2 steps of the podium, actually, all 3 steps of the podium, are on some older tires here, so look for some time to be gained in the next few laps.
Yeah, Creamy Johns, I think, is still pretty happy with his position here. I think the one car he might be eyeing is Becky B, but he's on almost 10 lap newer mediums compared to Becky B's 13 lap old hards. So Creamy Johns, I think, still likes his chances on this tire stint. He's going to be able to close that gap at least a little before the end of the race, but he's got to do that before his tires start to wear out.
Well, you know what, you're saying that, but I'm taking a look at the lap times here, and Becky B and Creamy Johns are doing about the same exact lap times.
Wow.
And actually, Becky B was quicker that lap. And now there were a couple laps there where Creamy Johns was quicker, but it shows that Becky B still has the pace, that's absolutely insane from the Williams driver there in P2. And that was Shea B who boxed for the soft compound.
Javier into the pits now as well. Is going to swap out those hard tires for a new set. Interesting. I wonder if Andre had a little bit of... oh, no, wait. Andre's not into the pits. Javier is into the pits. Javier going with the softs. Going to try and take those to the end of the race. Only 9 laps left to go. I think that's going to be more than possible for Javier. Let's see what he can get done coming back out of the pits in... Oof, that's going to be difficult. Probably about 14th. I think Dagger's going to get the pass done.
Yeah, he's going to be on those fresher tires, but when it really comes down to crunch time here, you need to get the overtakes done, and it looks like he's going to try and do it right away on Young Dagger. Gets on through Young Dagger there into the first and second corner, but Young Dagger has not had enough here. He's fighting back, coming down towards the chicane here. Who's going to have the better line? Javi's going to have it in the first corner of the chicane, and he's going to cut it by a massive margin there. And if we have the stewards from Bahrain, it's not going to matter. Javi is through into P13. and no penalties were handed out there.
Wow, nice move from some idiot into the pits. Going to swap out his hards for the soft tire. Decides he can go to the end of the race pretty comfortably at this point. About 7 laps left. We'll call it 8 laps left to go on these softs. Very doable. And I imagine we're going to see quite a bit of pace out of those from some idiot here as he comes out about 2.7, 2.8, almost 3 seconds behind Rogue there.
I'm going to take a look at the lap times again here. It looks like Creamy Johns has now been a bit quicker just a lap ago. Let me confirm that. Yeah, he's about 4/10 quicker a lap ago, but he's got to be a bit quicker than that. Unless he's praying for maybe a puncture for Becky B here. You need the pace to catch that Williams driver out in front, who has been absolutely flying today.
Oh, definitely. Shay B. Wait, hold on. There we go. Dr. McShorty. Interesting.
Yeah, Shay B's on the fresh softs there. He's about 2/10 off of Andre in front, and he's going to get through easily here. Andre on the older, hard compound tires is not going to be able to hold off those brand new soft tires very long, especially that Red Bull power car.
No, definitely not. Let's see when he's able to get this passed out. Oh, pulls alongside. Not going to quite get that done. Andre down into 7th. Shay B into 6th. Very nice points to be had, possibly
look
fourth.
At the Renault.
Ooh. Double OT going to have a crack at Andre as well. Andre with his time penalty, not enough. Double OT is going to try and get around it. I think Double OT's got his sights set on Shay B and is going to do just about anything he can to try and get to that driver, even though there's quite a mismatch on the tire lives for those drivers.
Yeah, Double OT and Andre have been running about the same strategy, but you're right. With Shay B running those brand new softs, he kind of made quick work of these two drivers who've been battling it out all race.
Javier, I think, showing a lot of pace and a lot of promise as well, but struggling when he's following a car into a braking zone to try and get him past. Let's see if he can get the pass done on Dr. McShorty. I think he's got enough pace to do it quite easily with the DRS activation there. There we go. Javier gets the pass done up into 11th. Not quite into the point scoring position. Wasn't able to last week either. Let's see if he can score some points this week for Haas.
Look at some idiot right now in P5. He's actually in P4 as I say that. He gets through Rogue there for that position as he did box and serve his time penalty. So now what you see is his actual pace, and his current position will not change due to any penalties. So some idiot now hunting down Capita in the last 6 laps of this race, and he's going to have a ton of pace to do it too.
Stoney with another 3-second time penalty. I think I saw a speeding in the pit lane penalty for him earlier as well. Let's go ahead and check that. Yeah, penalties 6 seconds for Young Dagger, FNW, 8 seconds for Red Hornet, and then 3 for Stoney, 3 for Shabam, and 3 for Andre Pato.
And Javi just picked up another 3 as well as you were going through those. So commentator curse does not stop here at F1. As I'll let everybody know about the lap times up front there. Becky B ran a 1:22.7 last lap, and we had Creamy Johns run a 1:22.8. So really no chance of Creamy Johns catching unless there's a huge drop-off in those tires.
Yeah, 5.4 seconds is the gap, and we might see a drop-off. I mean, 17 laps. We're getting towards the end of the life of the hards, but I think if you're Becky B, you're looking at about 6 laps left. I think now is when you make the decision just to stay out, because you definitely don't have enough time to get a pit stop in and stay in really in the top 5. So you're not going to want to do that now, but it's going to be pretty tricky to keep those tires under you as the wear goes on here. 18 laps now on those hard tires. If he keeps it together well enough, I think he's going to do just fine. That gap remaining 5.4 seconds between himself and Creamy Johns.
Ooh, look at this.
Pretty well.
A battle for P3 right now. Some idiot in Capita Hood. Some idiot going. He's going to take the outside line into turn 1, but that will become the inside line very quickly here. If he's able to break with Capita, he's going to try and fight back here on those older medium tire compounds, and he's going to get a better run out of turns 1 and 2 there and hold off some idiot for at least one more turn.
Wow, Capita doing everything he possibly can to keep the racing point at bay. See, as they go into the chicane here, yeah, some idiot gets around quite cleanly on the inside. I think Capita Hood did his best to defend around turn number 1, but knows that he could ruin both of their races if he fights just a little too hard. So Captain Hood falling about 1 second behind Some Idiot, but I don't think he's going to be unhappy with a finishing position of 4th, provided he can hold off Rogue. That gap closing ever so slightly, but Captain Hood doing a pretty good job of maintaining the gap between himself and Rogue behind. What's going to be interesting to see is if Some Idiot now has enough time to catch up to Creamy Johns. I don't think he's going to be able to close a 5.4 second gap, now a 5.5 second gap in only 5 laps, but we have seen more miraculous things here at PPR. 3-second time penalty for double OT. Gonna be unfortunate for him. Becky B still out in front, 4.4 seconds. Looking pretty safe, provided he doesn't make any large mistakes. I think Becky B, if he has anything to worry about, it's gonna be getting tangled with the McLaren driver behind him. I believe that's Red Hornet, Javier.
Sector 3, that's the Haas. That's Javi off, I believe. Yeah, that's Javi. He has collected himself and gotten through there. I think he just lost it himself there. I think he was racing in clean air when he lost that. But I wanted to mention, Rogue really has dropped that gap to Capita by quite a bit. He was quicker by a second just a lap ago. So keep an eye on Rogue there to hunt down Capita for that P4 position.
Into the pits for Stoney and Javier. Javier presumably has some damage. Stoney, bit of an interesting choice for him there. I'd assume he's got some damage as well. Then FNW going to try and get the pass done on Dagger. Can't quite get it done down into turn number 1 and 2. He's going to try and take the fight back to him around the second chicane here. Let's see if he can do it. Gets in the slipstream. Going to try and close that gap, closing it ever so slightly. Only half second now, trailing behind Young Dagger. Goes into the chicane. Gap remains about the same on the exit. They're going to be coming up on the DRS activation zone, in which FNW is going to have the advantage. But again, going into that Ascari chicane, that's a very dangerous and risky passing zone.
Sorry about that. I unmuted as I was saying something there. It was Becky who I was keeping an eye on because I'm so worried about those tires really quickly falling off here. And look out for Creamy Johns. Closed 2 seconds in a couple of laps there and has really turned up the pace.
Wow, Creamy John's really giving it all he has now. Is going to try and bring home the win for the Ferraris there. Nice pole position earlier in qualifying. Is going to try and convert that into the race win. Let's see if he can do it. Is currently, yeah, as you said, closing that gap very quickly to Becky B. 3.6 seconds is the gap now with only 3 laps left to go. That is going to be quite the tall ask, but certainly not impossible. 3.5 seconds now separating the two.
Yeah, and you know what? Some Idiot was 2 seconds quicker on a single lap pace. So watch out for Some Idiot as well, who's only 2.5 seconds behind Creamy Johns there for P2.
FNW in the Williams gets the pass done on Young Dagger in that Mercedes car. Looked pretty clean from him through turn number 1. But Mercedes not giving it up quite that easily. Almost into the back of the gearbox at the second chicane of FNW, but not quite. Holding it off ever just enough to not touch the 2 cars. Both of the drivers coming up on Clean Shelby with a vengeance, though. Let's see how that gap closes. Both drivers have DRS now. FNW getting saved from the gap being closed behind. But yeah, both drivers coming up very closely to Clean Shelby. Take a look from Clean Shelby's rearview mirror here. Oh, Dagger goes into the wall. He's out of the race. Oh, very unfortunate. Just had too much on the gas coming out of the Ascari chicane. Yellow flag, sector 3 as the Mercedes turned upside down in the background.
Car? If that is a safety car on track,
won't be this late in the race. I don't think it. Most it'll do at this point is virtual.
If you were part of the PlayStation race on Thursday night, we had a safety car with just 1 lap to go. So
really?
Not entirely unexpected.
All right.
Here from Codemasters.
Yeah, I guess if there's one thing with the F1 games, it's expect the unexpected, especially when it comes to the safety car.
Yeah, and I'm taking a look here at Becky B's lap time. If anybody's curious out there in the Twitch world, a 1:23.3 is what he said on lap 24 compared to lap 24 was a 1:22.5 for Creamy Johns. So watch out for Creamy Johns, but also look out for Some Idiot who's a second quicker now than Creamy Johns on each lap.
Yellow flag, sector 3. Javier goes into the pits. It's going to retire from the race. Feels no need to finish this one out. Going to finish 15th on track. or well off track, as it were. Not going to complete the race. No points for the Haas team today, as Chaz and Javier both are out. All other teams yet have a chance to score points. Time penalties is going to play a huge factor in the closing stages of the race here. Double OT is going to try and get the pass done on Andre Pato going into turn number 1. He's got it right up the gearbox. Let's see if he can get any purchase through Curva Grande.
Watch out for Rogue and Capita as well. They are absolutely all over each other here as Rogue is trying to get through the Renault here. And let's see if the Renault of Cap is saving some ERS for defense. Looks like he has too much left as Rogue looks just mighty quick here on just a couple lap fresher tires.
Yeah, Rogue with the DRS activation. Wow, was able to close that gap quite nicely, but I think Capita had him covered off with the DRS. Let's see what kind of exit he can get on the Ascari chicane here. It's going to close that gap to Capita. Let's go to Capita, look behind here. Rogue is going to try and get this pass down on Parabolica. Oh, Rogue has to back off. Brakes just a little bit earlier, but Rogue is going to like this position heading down into turn number 1. He's going to get the DRS activation down the main straight as we go into our final lap for our leaders. 2.1 seconds is the gap between Becky B and Green Johns.
Was there an issue there for the Williams? I actually don't believe so. Sorry about that. I thought I saw his rear left lose out a little bit, but it looks like he hasn't lost any pace there. Looks like he got a little bit happy through that first corner, but some idiot has now closed within a second of Creamy Johns in front.
Rogue getting a bit argy-bargy through turn number 1. Gets passed down on Capita Hood. He's going to be unhappy about that. There was quite a bit of touching between the two cars there, but we'll see if he can take the fight back to him. There you go. Some idiot has one lap to try and get past Creamy Johns to take second. Artie has a guaranteed podium, but we'll see if he can get any further up the standings, as maybe he puts pressure on Creamy Johns. Creamy Johns still could get a time penalty, and that would do it. Some idiot falling back to his second. Now he's got it down to 0.9 as they come out of the Ascari chicane. Becky B going to be going around Curva Grande Parabolica momentarily onto the main straight, and that point will mark the end of the race. Becky B comes around the last turn, is going to put his foot to the floor, goes down the main straight, crosses the line, and that's a race win for Becky B. Creamy Johns coming in second, covers off Some Idiot. Some Idiot on the charge in the closing stages of the race, but can't quite get it done. Red Hornet solidifies himself in to 14th place. Double OT still fighting with Andre Pato. Let's see if any one of them can get the pass done around Parabolica here. Time penalties will come into play, so expect to see the names shifting around towards the end here as everyone crosses the finish line. Andre Pato crosses. Double OT is going to cross just after him. Double OT stays 8th. Shabam going to be the next to cross the finish line with time penalties of his own. Nowhere near Dr. McShorty, presumably. Shabam is going to stay 9th fastest. Dr. McShorty down in 10th, presumably is going to stay that way as well. Clean Shelby able to go without penalties for most of the race, picking up a few in the last stages of the race. Is not going to quite take home anything in the points. Max Shelby does pick up one position up into 11th, and I believe because Some Idiot is a reserve, that is going to bring Clean Shelby up into 1 point for the season so far. Nice drive from Clean Shelby today. Kept it mostly clean, as his name would suggest. A couple time penalties in the end potentially lost him one position, but still picking up some nice points for the Alfa Romeo team when they need it now more than ever. Driver of the day, Some Idiot, of course, going from, what was that, 18th all the way up into second place, or third place finish. Very nice drive from him today, as we would expect from our Season 2 winner. You can see him there on the podium. Nice drive from Becky B, of course, though, as well. Chose the tire strategy correct, kept himself up on the top part of that podium there. Very nice drive from him. Go ahead and take a look at our final standings with penalties included. Becky B in first, Creamy Johns in second, Some Idiot taking home the third place position. Rogue getting past Capita Hood in the last few laps to take home fourth. Capita Hood going to be marching to the steward's room to make sure that that pass was legal, as Rogue and him had quite a bit of contact. Shay B in sixth, Andre Pato in seventh, Double OT in 8th, Shabam in 9th, Dr. McShorty in 10th, Clean Shelby in 11th, F&W 12th, Stoney 13th, Red Hornet last to finish in 14th. Javier, unfortunate DNF in 15th after a retirement from him after a few unfortunate incidents. Be on the lookout for Javier in future races. We still have 8 races left to go in the season, and he has shown some lightning fast pace. He just needs to get the consistency and track awareness about him in order to start taking advantage of some of those points. So expect to see Javier mature a lot in both racecraft and and maybe a little bit in pace as the season goes on and he gets a little more experience under his belt. Not to finish today's race was Young Dagger, Ruta, Getchum, Chaz, and Mox Speed Haas with no points on the day and not even a chance. No drivers finishing the race for them. A really great, intense race from Monza here tonight. It's going to shake up the standings ever so slightly. Very nice drive from all of our drivers tonight.
Yeah, and stick around for podium interviews. We have at least a couple of them that will be tuning in very shortly.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't get our drivers in the interview booth. We want to see what we have for what they have to say. Let's go ahead and let me go see if any of them are around. Yeah, very nice drive from our drivers today. That was a lot of really close racing. We saw a lot of passing, and the time penalties really came into play for some of these drivers, which is something that you will see when the grid is just so close based on time. It's just something that's, really, really contentious between these drivers.
I think we have a couple guys waiting here, so maybe we can get over to them very quickly.
Oh, there they are, over into the Voice Lounge.
Jump on up there.
Yep, meet you over there.
Yeah, I mean, they were at the end.
Oh, hello, gentlemen. We're in with our 2 finishers of the podium. First place finish, we've got Becky B. Becky B, congratulations on the race win. How does that feel?
It feels great. It was definitely a gamble on the strategy there, but I'm glad it worked out. Definitely wasn't easy, but definitely worked out in the end.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like you had that race a pretty commanding lead for most of the race. Were you worried about your aging tires at all, or were you pretty sure you could at least make it that far on those? I mean, we were waiting for maybe a blowout.
Yeah, I was pretty confident. At the end, I think I had 70, like low 70s wear going into the last lap, which is, I think I got it pretty perfect. I had to save a little bit, but I was able to keep my pace pretty consistent for the most part, so it was fairly comfortable, but definitely not easy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was a fantastic race from you there. No doubt about that. Was there anything you would have done differently? I mean, it obviously got you the first. The safety car was a bit hard to read, but it seemed like you played it just right.
Yeah, it was definitely a roll of the dice. I think it was definitely a gamble, and was not happy with my start. Kind of got pushed off in the first corner and lost, I think, 3 places or something like that. So I felt, I was like, I'm already down in the order a little bit here. I might as well gamble, and I did, and it worked out. So really happy with the end result, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic drive from you. And looking forward to next week of Suzuka. How do you fancy your chances there?
I think a little better there, but this was definitely not a good track for me, so I'm glad I was able to get the win.
Certainly not a bad start to your season, finishing second in Austria last week and first in Italy this week. So it's got to give you quite a bit of confidence going into the rest of the season. Are you worried about any other drivers on the grid?
I mean, of course, yeah. Creamy and Samiti had always put up a good fight, and there's a lot of fast guys up there, so it's definitely never a given, and it's always a good hard battle. So I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, thanks for stopping by the interview booth. We always love to hear from our racers. We'll see you next week. But for that, we will move on to our second place finisher, Creamy Johns. Creamy Johns, congratulations on the podium. Believe that is, let's see, last week was unfortunately not a podium for you. How do you, actually, were you third last week?
No, that tire blowout cost me it.
That's right. That's
Probably
right.
cost me the win, to be honest, but last week.
Definitely. Well, but that gets you up onto the podium this week. Pretty hard fought battle there. Was the early safety car hard to read?
I mean, for me, it seemed obvious to stay out, but I still don't know if it was worth it or not. I got really screwed over with traffic after my pit stop, so I probably lost a few seconds there, and I wasn't pushing as hard as I probably could have because I was expecting Becky's tires to go off sooner, and I was hoping to push a lot harder at the end, which I did, but it wasn't enough. So
Definitely a tough fought race for you there. Yeah, a lot of midfield traffic in the right after your pit stop, as you were saying. Was there any driver that gave you a particular amount of trouble that you're going to have to keep an eye on this season, that maybe have to watch out for their defending?
I don't defending. I don't think so, but I almost got taken out at the second chicane by OTV or whatever the guy's name is or something. I'm not sure what he was doing, but he almost killed me after the pit stop there. So.
Well,
We'll
I'm
see.
glad he didn't. Got you the podium. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, hopefully these can keep happening. It's nice to be talking to you guys for once.
No, absolutely. We're happy to have you here. Cribsy, any questions for second place finisher here?
Yeah, actually I do, and it kind of relates to Becky B as well. But I guess more for Creamy. Creamy, not that you were hoping for any form of puncture, but was that in the back of your mind that maybe your only chance of an overtake there on Becky B was a bit of a puncture?
After I got the traffic, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's
That
good to
seemed
hear
like
it
the
from you
only way.
because that's what I was thinking as well. And I was wondering if Becky B was going to be able to hold on to those tires, and well, showed he was able to do it. So beautiful job from both of you though in P1 and P2.
Yeah, absolutely. Some nice racing from both of you. But yeah, that traffic after the pit stop, when you pitted, it looked really exciting that you might be able to catch up to Becky B. But yeah, obviously only a couple seconds separating the two of you at the end of the race, and it doesn't get much better than that for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, for them it's all right. I'm kind of, a little bit annoyed about it, but it's whatever.
That's all right. You've got 8 more chances before the end of the season. So hang in there, and we hopefully will see you on the podium again next week.
Sounds good.
Moving on to our third place finisher. Is that some idiot, or did Capita jump
Yeah,
in?
it is.
Fantastic.
I just got my actual name on for once, because submitted isn't as formal,
All right, well, Cody finishes P3 then, Kermit.
Oh, nice. You just doxed him.
Goodness. No, go ahead. You guys have questions. I'm all yours.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what made you come back for this race, first and foremost? I mean, you had such a promising season last season to where you were able to take home all of the marbles with the championship, but I don't see you permanently on a team as of yet, or has that changed?
Well, for me, it's like I got a shift in priorities that are starting to happen for the next few months, and I'm not sure if I can race full time. I mean, I would love to be here. I just can't guarantee it for myself, for one, and for two, it's if I can't guarantee it, I don't want to take it away from somebody else. But I had some time today, had a setup I was really looking forward to running, and I wanted to try something a little bit crazy. So we went from the back of the field, and without that 5-second penalty, could have been racing Becky and Creamy at the end there. But also, I've been having some pedal issues. The moment I'm done talking with you guys, I'm tearing apart my G29 pedals to try to fix them. I don't know if you caught it at the end of the race, but can you see my brake dragging and my throttle jumping around on straights? Those are my pedals dying. Those are my pedals dying on me. It was scary at the last few laps.
Yeah, maybe time for a new set of pedals at this point.
Oh, that would be nice. No, I've got to repair these bad boys up. I know I can. I've had to do it many times. I'll probably have to do it many times more, but I can always make these pedals come back to life again. Just happened to strike me at the end of this,
No, absolutely. Your lucky pedals have been working for you. I was going to ask you about qualifying. Not able to set a time. Was that intentional, or were track limits giving you difficulty?
Intentional. Wanted to try the medium soft and try to make my way through the field. Try to do a Checo, and it was close. I just wish that 5-second penalty didn't happen. I mean, Terry had spun in turn 1. There's about 4 cars all slowed up. I tried to go around the outside of all of it, trying to crawl through. Then Terry's left rear tire hit my left rear tire. The moment the VSC came out, gave me a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, I saw that. Very unfortunate. Obviously, a big race dampener. Do you think you would have taken home first without that 5-second, or would the defending really have been tough from both Cream and
Cream and Becky.
Yeah, Becky. There we go. Sorry, Becky.
I think I would have stood a chance at least. At least I would have had the chance. That 5 seconds would have been enough to get me in a position. I'm never gonna say, "Oh yeah, I would have won that." No, because you never know what happens. Racing is just it's a funny mistress like that. But I mean, I would have had a chance. I would have liked to have that chance.
No,
That's all
absolutely. So you did best what you could with what you had, and that did get you on to the podium. So congratulations for that. Hopefully we'll see you a few more times throughout the season. It'd be nice to have you back. You can just show just what kind of pace you can have and really give some of our front runners a challenge for some of those points.
Well, I'd love to do that. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. I see in the room here, we've got Javier as well. I don't know if he wants to say a few words. Javier, it's on stream, so feel free. You don't have to talk to us if you don't want to, but I've been watching the past couple races here. You've had a lot of pace and a lot of opportunities, but it just hasn't come together for you the last couple races. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think you can possibly get to a point where you'll be seeing consistent podiums by the end of the season?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hello guys. First of all, congrats Becky for your victory. You deserve it. And oh man, this is difficult because Austria and Monza was a good races for me because I had a good pace. For example, here in Monza, I have an excellent pace. I was making a good comeback, but I make a rookie mistake and I lost the car and I broke my front wing. So that's it. I am pretty sad and I am pretty disappointed with myself because I think that I deserve more. But this is racing and we can have this. So that's it.
No, absolutely. And Curbs and I were talking. I mean, through race number 1 and race number 2, you've shown a lot of pace. And I mean, it could be just that, you were particularly good on those tracks. But I think you're going to have a lot more opportunities to fight for the at least points, if not the front position. So I'm very excited to watch you progress throughout the season. Definitely one to keep an eye on. How do you feel you are at Suzuka? Any goals for yourself for next week?
Oh, the first goal is finish the race, bro. And the second is get a top 10. I think that Suzuka is one of my best tracks, so I'm going to practice a lot and try to finish in the top 10,
Yeah,
Javi,
fantastic.
Plug the wheel in. That's all you need to do, and you'll be at the front of the pack.
No, I really would like to drive with the wheel, but right now with the study and with the work, it's impossible to me to practice because the time for me it's impossible. I just have 2 hours or 1 hour to practice or race. So for example, this race my practice was the quali, so that's it. It's a bit complicated, but I am still training and I'm still practicing with the wheel. I am taking that chill.
Yeah, entirely understood. But another, we were pulling for you there, and you have the pace, so I think we'll see it in the next few races, and you'll be able to perform.
Definitely, I just want to say of you job done with my overtake. So I'm going to try to make a good race in the next races that are we on. So that's it.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be looking for you on track next week at Suzuka. We'll hold you to those points. We'll see if you can't get in the top 10. Thank you very much for stopping by the commentary booth, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys, and thank you for the stream. Amazing work you do.
Thank you very much. All right, with that is going to conclude our stream for today. Curbsy, any closing thoughts?
I loved being here, and thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying yes at the last minute. Cosmo had to step out, but I always love having you, and you're always welcome in the booth whenever you want a seat.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and I guess we'll be tuning in for many ACC streams to come.
Yes, absolutely. This next week at Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern, be sure to tune in. We've got some great action on track, race number 2 of season 4 for ACC, and of course right here next week 8 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern. There we go. We'll keep it all in one time zone. 9 p.m. Eastern, we've got Formula 1 coming to you live from Suzuka, but be sure not to miss our other streams for the week. Tuesday, we've got action from Monza as well, and then we also have another race on Thursday. So be on the lookout for those. Go to our website, PPREsports.com, to check out the full race schedule for the season. 10 races total for Formula One before, presumably, the next game will come out. So still a lot of action left to go. But I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I want to thank those that have followed us as well. Consider subscribing with Twitch Prime. That is free if you have Amazon Prime, but if you can't support us, please support one Twitch streamer. It really helps us out. So thank you, everyone, for stopping by tonight. With that, we are going to conclude the stream, and we will see you next week at Suzuka for race number 3. Have a good night, everybody. All right, we're clear. Nice, thanks. Yeah, great, good. Oh yeah, I know. You've stretched those so far. Yeah, with hearts. Yeah, it was still a really tough drive by him, but yeah, it pulled that off really well. Definitely. It was a pretty wild race. So I'm excited to see next week at Suzuka. Normally we get some pretty good action from that track as well.